The Feedback Loop. From the Mind Mapped, Episode 5. 4 episodes have built the architecture piece by piece. The waterline, the active submerged system, the sedimented structure, the prediction engine running continuously below awareness. Episode 5 steps back and shows the full picture, not as a collection of discoveries, but as one integrated operating system. And then it shows what becomes possible once you can see it whole. The complete cycle. The system has a direction. It doesn't just receive and process. It loops. The full cycle, stated precisely: sediment, prediction, experience crosses the waterline. Second eye observes. First eye receives intelligence. Conditions arranged. New experience. Right accumulates. Updated sediment. Updated prediction. This is not 6 separate mechanisms. It is one system completing one cycle. Every element built across the previous 4 episodes is a different view of this loop, a different place in the cycle where the architecture became visible enough to name. Why the loop usually runs without intervention. Most of the time, the cycle runs without deliberate engagement. The subconscious generates predictions. Experience confirms or errors against them. What confirms passes through quietly. What errors surface briefly and is absorbed. The narrative closes over it. The architecture stays largely unchanged. The predictions stay accurate because what they're predicting is the same pattern they've always generated. This is stability. It's functional. The system doesn't need to be intervened on to operate. It operates continuously, mostly below awareness, mostly confirming what it already knows. The loop running without intervention isn't failure. It's the system doing what it's built to do, maintaining coherent operation across time. Most experience passes through without writing deeply. The architecture stays mostly what it has been. This is not a malfunction. This is the system working. The second eye within the loop. The second eye doesn't stand outside the loop watching it. It operates within it, as the specific capacity that allows outputs crossing the waterline to be observed with minimum interpretive distortion. Without the second eye engaged, outputs surface and are immediately absorbed by the first eye's narrative. The narrative names them, explains them, fits them into the existing story. What actually came up from below gets translated before it can be read accurately. The narrative is fast, fluent, and almost always running. It closes over what surfaced before the surfacing can be examined. The second eye catches the signal before the narrative closes over it. Brief, pre-verbal. The tail end of processing already mostly completed below the threshold. Not manufactured, not narrated. Surfacing. This is why it's the only reliable window into what's actually operating below. Not because it opens the black box, but because it watches the outputs as they cross before the first eye converts them into something more comfortable. Nothing above the waterline can access the submerged structure directly. The second eye doesn't access it either. It reads what the structure sends up before translation begins. What deliberate engagement actually does. When the second eye engages deliberately, catching what surfaces, holding the gate open rather than letting the narrative close immediately, the loop becomes available for modification rather than just maintenance. The second eye provides accurate intelligence about what's actually in there. What predictions the system is running, what patterns are generating current outputs, where the structure diverges from what the first eye would choose if it could choose directly. The first eye receives that intelligence as recognition, the kind that carries weight, that matters, that the first eye cares about changing. Not information stored, but something that landed. That recognition initiates. Conditions are arranged. New experience is engineered. The right material placed where the second eye will witness it repeatedly. The right accumulates, not because it was forced, because it was placed where the mechanism could work. The tipping point and what follows. Before sufficient writing, there is friction. The prediction model still reaching toward the old pattern. Every new experience arriving as error against existing expectations, the first eye holding conditions against the pull of the architecture. After sufficient writing, the architecture shifts. The prediction model updates. What was effortful becomes expected. What required conscious maintenance now runs automatically. The tipping point arrives, not as a decision, but as a recognition that something has changed below the threshold of deliberate attention. The old self isn't lost, it's being read by a different architecture. This is the feedback loop completing, not once, continuously, across a lifetime, at whatever pace and depth the system is engaged with deliberately. Closing. The waterline, the submerged system, the sediment, the prediction engine, the second eye, the right channel, the gate, the interpreter. These are not separate discoveries. They are different views of one architecture completing one cycle. Receiving, predicting, surfacing, observing, initiating, writing, shifting, and beginning again. The architecture now has a name. In the next episode, we look at that name. The Mercer Journal is an independent reader-supported platform. You can back our work at ko-fi.com/WEMercer. That's ko-fi.com/WEMERCER. And thanks for listening.